on junior college level, you got to be the driver, you got to be the coach, you got to be the athletic director, you got to be the be the laundryman, everything. So coach been in and out, but I want to respect his time. And so Coach Fig, if you on, man, just pop out for a minute. And the question that I have for you, like I asked all the coaches, what do you look for when you go out recruiting athletes?
I would say, obviously the first thing that usually jumps out at you about kids is their athletic ability, their straight up athletic ability, speed, quickness, explosiveness, then a skill set. But I think everybody's looking for that. So it's the smaller things, the things that I know I'm going to harp on once they get to our campus. How often do they shake hands with a teammate? What's their response to things that ain't going their way, whether it's a call they perceive as bad or getting yanked out the game by their coach, maybe getting on them a little tough. Just essentially how they respond to adversity. Those two things are really huge right now, because those are the things that we're going to try to harp on when they get here. And if they've already doing those things at a high enough level, then that makes our job easier once they get here.
Yeah. So are you telling me, as a college coach, are you telling me, coach, that you're watching how I'm walking back to the bench, or you watching how I'm sitting on the bench, you watching how I'm interacting? Like, are you telling me that you looking at all that? You just ain't looking at how well I shoot the ball?
Nah, from my perspective, I'm literally watching everything you do. From the moment I step into the gym, depending on what time I get to the gym, to the game, I'm watching everything you do. I tend to position myself opposite the benches. I want to see what you're doing in the timeout. I want to see what you're doing when you're not in the game. It's not hard to see good players throughout the course of a high school game. Right. They'll make plays, they'll stand out. It's the other things. I'm probably not there if you can't play. It's probably already been established you can play. So right. That's not really what we're looking for.
Right.
Personalities that become very important in our recruitment.
Okay.
Guys that have dry personalities, they can't take a joke, they don't know how to interact with people. We can probably find a guy with a better personality to fit us.
And then you can teach them how to play.
Yes.
Okay. I got it. What about, and I'm going to let the officials speak to this point, but what about a kid that's riding the officials?
Nah. We don't tolerate that in practice from our players, to question the coaching who's officiating in practice. I'm not an official, so yeah, the calls are going to be bad. And I try not to interact with the officials during the game. So the expectations of our players is that's got nothing to do with you. You cannot be multiple roles within a basketball game. By that, I mean, you're either a player, a coach, some type of official, whether that's you're at the table or you're on the floor officiating, or you're a fan. Those are the four levels. And you cannot be any combination. I can't be a coach and an official. It doesn't work like that. Right. I can't be a coach and a player. That's been long gone. So you can only be one of those things. So if as a player, if you want to officiate, we'll get you over to the sideline and you can officiate from there. But you're not going to officiate while you're on the floor. Neither am I. So to debate, calls to a certain extent, that's just, you're not going to get much out of that. I can discuss it with an official on what I saw and what I think he saw, and maybe try to position ourselves to get that call next time. But there's better ways to expand your energy throughout the course of a game than to concern yourself with something that you have no control over.
Yeah, something that you have no control over. Coach, man, I'm going to ask you two more questions, and then I'm going to let you get out of here. And then I'm going to come to Cliff, because I want Cliff to speak to that point about the athletes, since Cliff is the elder statesman of the officials. But what constitutes playing time for Coach Fig?
We tend to talk about evaluation. The moment that you commit to us, the evaluation starts all over again. We usually talk about three different things. Are you helping us or hurting us off the floor? So your academics in the community, things of that nature. Are you helping us or hurting us in practice? And then are you helping us or hurting us in the game? Chances are, if you're not doing the first two, if you're not helping us off the floor and you're not helping us in practice, you ain't getting in the game. So you ain't got to worry about that. There's very rarely a time where a guy only helps you in the game and he's not helping you in those other two places. That's just here. That's not the way it works. So it's a lot of that evaluation. You know, we film every practice. So as a coaching staff, we're evaluating the practice film. And it goes in ebbs and flows. It's very hard to find consistent people, let alone consistent players. Usually, if you're an inconsistent person, you're an inconsistent player. I think in all walks of life, that's applicable. Your best coworkers are probably consistent people. Your inconsistent coworkers are probably inconsistent people. So consistency, but those are when we talk to our guys about being evaluated to be invited back for the next year. Those are kind of our three general barometers. And there could be a guy that he only helps you off the floor. So he's a good academic student. He's great when you do community service. He only helps you in practice. He challenges guys in practice. He don't play in the game. But that guy can stick around. Like he can be invited back for another year because he's still helping you 2 out of the 3 facets.
But what about that guy that's just helping you on the court?
It's just those are just rare here. It's just rare. Like if you're not getting good grades, it's hard for us to put you in the game because if I can't trust you to show up to class on time, I can't trust you to be on a rotation in time. I can't trust you to know the plays. Yeah. So the trust factor just isn't there if you're not giving and by grades, just giving your best effort academically. Everybody ain't gonna get A's and B's. Some guys struggle with math, some guys struggle with English. That's fine, but if you're giving your best effort. I cannot recall a time where we had a guy that was just a gamer, so to speak. Yeah.
I mean, and because you said they're really consistent. So if they consistently can do that, they should be able to consistently do this. It's just if they do it or not. But I heard you say, Coach, that like we watching practice film, and I talked about as you move up levels from high school to college, like everything is on the timer. But things are tracked also. And so if it's not only game film, but practice film as well. But then I heard you say, if we invite you back. So are you telling me that when you offer a scholarship to an individual, they're not guaranteed to have that scholarship for the duration of their eligibility?
No, it's a year-to-year contract.
Yeah.
It's
contract.
Yeah, it's a contract.
Yeah.
This is
okay.
Once you leave high school and you step onto the collegiate level, you need to start taking a more professional approach to this. There are guys, not necessarily at my level per se, but there are guys at the next level at the college level that they're coaching for their lives. And they're not going to mess around and keep bringing a guy back who's not helping them achieve their goals and helping them get contract extensions or helping them get to their next job. You're signing a 1-year contract that's renewable, but it is not guaranteed. And so guys need to understand that, when they do go to college, that you're being evaluated year to year, and that end of the season conversation is either going to go 1 or 2 ways.
1 or 2 ways. Yeah, I love it, Coach, man. I appreciate the time. I got one more question for you, Fig. You say that you position yourself you start watching the player when you walk in the gym. Imparting, what advice can you give our parents about this recruitment thing? Because are you recruiting them also?
You're taking notice of them. When they get here, we're not having discussions about playing time with parents. You decide when your son go in and out the house when he's at home. I decide when he goes in and out the game. I don't tell you how to manage his time when he's at your house. You're not going to tell me how to manage his time when he's in my house.
Yeah.
So, we've seen some parents or some relatives of kids that are obnoxious in the stands, and that has an effect because I'm not going to try to deal with that. You're not going to come to our home game, sit in the front row and try to coach. Yeah. And I've had to have that discussion with our players and tell them, like, you need to talk to your people. And if I catch you looking in the stands trying to listen to them, you ain't getting back in the game. Like, that's not happening. You know, the coaching staff is on this bench. There ain't no coaching staff in the bleachers. So parents can have a positive or negative effect on a child's life. Like, I mean, that's parenting.
One-on-one.
Like, there's nothing different about this recruiting game that changes.
Yeah.
Everybody should be going to a game to cheer for their kid.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. You cannot have multiple positions. You cannot be a fan and a ref.
Yeah.
You sit in the stands, you cheer for your son, you be positive with him and his teammates and focus on that. You know, it does get noticed. Mm-hmm. If you see the player that you're there to see and he's constantly turning and looking up into the stands, well, who is he looking at? Why is he looking up there?
Right.
You know, because chances are that person he's looking at wasn't in practice all week.
Right.
So I don't know why they think they would have more knowledge than the guys who were, but you know, that's a whole nother level right there.
Okay. And part two of the last question, I promise it's the last question, man. I'm gonna let you go because I know the season just started. And you know, you got work to do. At any advice for parents, you know, because you get a lot of people like, hey, you know, and Jamil said it as he was on. Don't just wait for the school to recruit you. You start recruiting the school. You know, people in different, you know, these scouting companies and all that, you know, they, you know, email coaches, reach out. And yes, I open almost every email, right? I got one of my better players from him reaching out to me in an email. Jamil was All-American. He reached out to me in a phone call. I know, especially during COVID, you get lots and lots of emails. What makes you, or what advice can you get to parents and athletes about contacting coaches to just get information and get themselves familiar, you know, so that you can know who they are? Like, what's a bad email? What's something that's going to capture your attention?
You want it to be individualized. So even if it is a form email, you know, have the school's name, have the coach's name if possible. We need academic information, accurate academic information. And then we need film. And it could be a highlight film. And you got to do something to pique our interest because there's just so many kids out there. Like, you're probably going to get about 1 minute of our time with the film. So you got to do something good on that film for us to want to keep watching it and for us to want to reach back out to you. Again, we try to get to every email. Some quick ways to not get looked at is for it to have the wrong name or the wrong school, or, you know, we're Parkland College. We're not Parkland University. You know, that to me, that means you're just sending this out to anybody and everybody. You're not truly interested in us. You would never court your significant other that way. You always, if you trying to say you're trying to woo a girl or trying to get a girl to pay interest in you, you might know her name a little bit. You know, you try to be individualized. So I would say that, and have the email be somewhat professional. If when players start reaching out to you and the email has, you know, they're typing an email like it's a text message, that's not a good look.
Yeah. And so you say with that film, they got about 1 minute of your time.
Yeah, if you got to pique my interest in 1 minute with that highlight film, if you haven't done it in a minute, I'm probably moving on.
Yeah. And what about music? Like does it bother you with the cursing and the bang bang shoot 'em up because that's what they like?
I would say the cursing. Like, you got to know your audience. There's a time and place for specific language and how you speak to people. And again, this is a business. If you're trying to get a contract, you would never go into an interview in that way. You would never submit a resume with profanity on it. So I would expect that same way in the email or the video. You know, now maybe that tape is special. Maybe I didn't hear him say the F word 3 times, but more times than not, if that's the video I'm getting, I just turn it off anyway. We can find another guy.
Yeah.